Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are moving on with season 8. This is episode 17. Brian, what's the title?
Empedocles.
Exactly. That's the title, folks. Mulder's back. Doggett's still trying to keep the X-Files together. And Scully is pregnant and somehow still the calmest person in the room. So,
yeah. The voice of reason. Which, yeah. Okay. I was just looking up, because why do it before we go on? Let's do it when we're actually on. I was looking up what Empedocles refers to. Empedocles was an influential ancient Greek philosopher, best known for proposing that all matter is made of 4 fundamental elements: earth, air, fire, and water. He argued that these elements are eternal and combine or separate through the opposing cosmic forces of love, attraction, and strife, repulsion. There you go.
Yeah.
That's all the wiser now, aren't you?
Yeah. I feel like I've lived it.
I feel like I'm living it as we speak. Right. Empedocles. Season 8. We're right in the back end now of season 8. 21 episodes. Where do you think this? And now, just for some clarity, just to be clear with the audience, it has actually been a bit of a while, hasn't it, since you saw this? Because we watched it and then we didn't kind of record when we should have recorded. So we know what your memory's like.
And when it comes to the numbers, I don't go with my opinion. I try and guess what other people are thinking, which adds even more to it. I think, how many episodes are there? 21, 22?
21 in season 8. Yeah.
21. 17.
18.
Wow. Okay.
It is shocking. To me, this is shocking.
So the 4th worst episode in this season.
According to people on IMDb. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be that low for me. Definitely. It's been a while since I put this list together.
Yeah.
When we started the show, and I tend to only look at the one we're doing. So I asked you, where do you think it is? And then as you were guessing, I was like, oh crap, I better check myself. And I'm looking and it's not coming up. It's not coming up. Where is it? It can't be. And then I'm like, down at 18. So, and that surprises me. I'm shocked by that being so far down. I really am. But yeah.
Yeah, and as you said about my memory, it's like I can't remember. As we talk about it, I'm sure I'll come back to something. But I'm really excited to find out what this episode's about. So it's going to be a fun conversation. No, I do remember bits and pieces of it, but
yeah. So before we move on, 217 episodes overall across the whole series. Where do you think? Oh, that is shocking, man.
Right, 184.
Oof, close. 181. This may be the biggest disparity between me and the IMDb users that we've ever had, quite frankly. So
there we go. Good old poker face Brian Lomax. So he never gives anything away.
That's right.
I wonder where he'll end up.
I have no poker face. I don't play poker, and there's damn good reason for it. But yeah, there you go. Shocking to me, that is. Absolutely shocking. Right. Shall we get into it then?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Right. So we open up on Jeb getting fired by 2 bosses. One of them looking like a female version of Cancer Man because she actually says nothing. She just sits there kind of quiet and you kind of feel like she's pulling the strings secretly. But then he goes outside after being fired and he sees a car crash. And then a man gets out of the car that's exploded. He gets out on fire, walks over to Jeb and walks into him, kind of goes inside him, so to speak. And then Jeb goes back inside his office and shoots his bosses.
Yeah. The effects The fire effects are outstanding here, like
Yeah.
really good. They're not TV effects. They feel amazingly well done. And like, I'm used to seeing these kind of things. It's before there was like this would be done by CGI now, but I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it is
Oh
there.
no, definitely
Um,
not. Like when you
and
look
it's
at it,
yeah,
you can tell it's the old way of doing things. The guy's wearing a burn suit, so
yeah, and
yeah,
walking so like calmly and
Michael
steadily.
Myers-esque.
It's fantastic. It's also a kind of WTF moment, like what's going on here? Like how
Yeah.
did he walk out of that? What's going on? Um, you kind of get I think you get the idea of the possession straight away, and
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's a really strong opening because it's a really strong horror opening. You get this guy being humiliated into supernatural ignition as he kind of attacks back. I really
Yeah.
like the opening a lot.
Yeah. I did. I loved it. Just yeah, big car crash to set the scene. It's like, oh, blimey. And then, like I say, it's like it just reminds me of the Michael Myers on fire in Halloween 2 moment.
Yeah,
Where he's
but better.
but better, yeah. So yeah, good stuff. Goes in, shoots his bosses, and yeah, we're into the opening sequence. So we get past the opening titles, and Reyes arrives at the scene, chewing nicotine gum. Reminds the detective that he brought her there under the pretense of evidence of satanic ritual killing. Yeah, because the detective comes over and he starts having a bit of a chitter chatter, and it's almost like she's got to go. You brought me here for. Can we get on with it? It's like, can we stop talking about nicotine gum and stuff? So he shows her Jeb's personal effects, which basically amount to a Marilyn Manson CD, which must be clearly evidence of satanic going on.
Yeah.
So she says he most likely snapped after being fired. And then as she walks out, she has a vision of one of the bodies burning up into ash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I kind of like this one because she comes in and she feels like somewhere in between Mulder and Scully, like a mix of both of them put together. She's not fully on the supernatural, but she's open-minded enough to look for the signs and accept it for what it is, which I kind of liked. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's something about this episode. Again, I can't get over that score. I can't get over how low this is for people, because I actually think this episode is great because all four of what will be our main characters in season 9, and we knew at this point Reyes was going to be a main character in season 9.
Okay, I didn't.
Right, back in the day, us X-Files fans did, because we were getting the X-Files magazines, we were reading them like everything we could find, and it was basically being set up. Yeah, season 9 is going to be the Doggett and Reyes show kind of thing. That's what was, and there was a lot of fans like, oh, I don't know about this, and others were like, okay, let's see what happens, and so yeah, bringing her in now, and then this whole episode, I do think all four of these what will be now main characters are used effectively. All their scenes that they have deserve to be there. Each one plays a pivotal role in everything that's going on, and yeah, so I can't get over that, Scott. The Mulder takes a gift round to Scully and suspects the pizza boy of knocking her up. Then Scully gets some abdominal pains. I love this scene. This scene's great. So he brings a gift to her. He kind of sneaks it in and then tucks it behind the pillow. And there's a bit of
worst hiding place ever.
Yeah. Admittedly, he wants her to see it because he's like he's eyeing at it, and then she's like, "Oh, what's this?" before she gets her pains. But I just think the scene plays so well. And there's even a little visual gag in there that can go unnoticed if you're not kind of paying attention, which is that Mulder alludes or makes an allusion to the possibility that, hey, the pizza boy could be the father of the child. Because Scully makes a bit of a faux pas with the way she talks, because she says, I'm just about to get in the shower, the pizza man's coming round, and it's like, whoa, I can't. So he's coming round to get in the shower. What? So Mulder uses that to make a bit of a gag about, oh, he's the pizza boy, like under suspicion and stuff. Anyway, pizza man arrives, they have a little bit of banter, then she gets abdominal pains. And Mulder says, call an ambulance to him. And he doesn't whip out a mobile or anything like that. He runs through Scully's house, almost as if he knows exactly where the phone is, almost as if he's been there many times before, almost as if we should be suspecting the pizza boy. And I just, like, it's a nothing thing, but this time around when I watched it, I just found it hilarious that they made this little gag about the pizza boy being the father. And then when it came time for Scully needs help, he was on it like a bonnet, just rushing through the house, knowing exactly where the phone is. And I was like, that kind of feeds into Mulder's theory a bit. But yeah, it was mildly amusing. But aside from that, just the character interplay between Mulder and Scully is really great. And again, I think the energy from David Duchovny is fantastic. And I think that's because he's come back, he's fresh, he's had some time off, and yeah, he's firing on all cylinders. So yeah, just a beautifully written scene. So Scully is rushed into hospital and Doggett arrives. And him and Mulder have a little bit of they don't go at each other or anything, but you can tell there's this friction in the air where Mulder's like, I hate you. I don't know you, but I already hate you. Reyes calls Mulder about her case. Mulder says, call Doggett. She says she can't because it's about him. So, yeah, asks Mulder to meet her. So.
Yeah, bringing in the mystery of Mulder, who he seems almost unwilling to get involved in a lot of things, doesn't he?
Yeah, though, like, yeah, go on.
But then in the last episode, he was almost being too intrusive with like the X-Files, and getting involved with the people there. You think he'd want to know more about Doggett, particularly because you can tell he just feels as if there's something there.
Yeah, but I do actually think that plays into this. Because when I was watching the scene, I was paying attention to that. And it's like Mulder kind of... His dismissal of Reyes at first is more like, I've got something more important at this moment in time because my partner's actually in hospital. But on top of that, compound the fact that I've clearly been shown the door, and I'm not on the X-Files. It's like, and it's almost like a sarky comment, give it to Doggett. But then when she says, well, I can't because actually it's about him, his ears prick up.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, ooh, this is almost like too good to be true. It's like he's going to get the opportunity to investigate this man that he doesn't really trust right now. And someone who knows him is the one who's kind of bringing him into that. But yeah. So Jeb sits in a motel room with his gun. He tries to shoot himself, but the gun heats up and scalds his hand. Then he goes into the bathroom and tears his face off.
Again, this is a phenomenal special effects sequence.
Yeah.
It looks like practical as hell, and it just works so well. And it's terrifyingly creepy. Like you just... there's something about it. It's just someone peeling their own skin off. It's just horrifying.
It's just the way it kind of comes up in strips, and then underneath you have that lava effect.
Yeah,
and it's like, I know they'll have had to build a mask of the actor's face, and then put a green screen kind of thing over his face,
It's just
and then put the mask over that. And it's that, and then you can put but that mask has to be really good, and like you said, the whole thing from a special effects standpoint, this is like movie level special effects, really great stuff.
But and that's kind of thinking back on it when you're watching it, like you're like, wow, that's creepy, it's freaky, it's disturbing.
Yeah.
It
reminded me of Poltergeist. Is it Poltergeist where the guy goes into the bathroom and then he just kind of like pulls his own face off because he's looking in a mirror? Or is
Can't remember.
It's not House, is it? One of the House films. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it was Poltergeist, but I could be totally plucking that out of my a-hole. There's a scene where it's like, I think he's having a dream or something, and then he goes to the bathroom, he looks in the mirror, and he chips a bit of his face off. Like, he's like, oh, what's going on there? And then he just starts familiar, but
it, and then I can't think of what.
Yeah, I feel like it's Poltergeist, but I could be wrong. Correct me, anyone in the comments, if you know what that's from. But Mulder meets Reyes, and she tells him about Doggett's son. Says she had a similar vision to the one she's just had with his son's body, as did Doggett himself. She believes it must mean something. So clearly, at one point, Doggett has had a paranormal encounter or supernatural encounter, but he's come to a place where he's dismissed it. He's just gone, no, it was just folie à deux. It was just whatever. I was in a vulnerable place and I saw something that I didn't really see. It was just, and he's chalked it up to that. So, which sets up the main theme of what this episode is about, which I'll go in, for me at any rate. It may not be about this for anyone else, but for me it is. I'll get into it when we get into some later scenes, but Doggett has a vision / memory as he stands by Scully's bedside before being told to leave by a Bolshe nurse. So yeah, he's looking at Scully, and it kind of becomes the scene of the crime of when they found his son, and all the sheriffs are kind of stood around his son, and Monica's there, and she turns her head back, looks at him, and you can tell this is a hardcore memory for him. This is like his son. So yeah, finding your own son. That's that would be something. But Doggett catches Mulder in the corridor and nearly makes him crap his pants over looking into his son's file. Now this is my one gripe with this episode. Is my only gripe with this episode, because actually I think everything else is damn good, and I still can't believe that score. But it's the fact that I feel like we're missing a scene, because we go from Doggett being in the hospital having his vision to then Mulder coming out of the office with a file, and Doggett barely claps eyes on him when he grabs hold of him, throws him against the wall, and is like, what are you doing? I'm kind of looking into my stuff. And I feel like, I think he says it in the dialogue, which is, I shouldn't be hearing from a colleague that you're digging around my stuff in the office. And it's so throwaway almost that I was just like, hang on, how did he know he was going through his son's file? How did he know Mulder was looking into that? It's like, so, and I think it's just because we go from Doggett in the hospital looking at Scully to boom, Doggett fired up and slamming Mulder against the wall and getting in his face. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, that could be the reason that I really didn't like this scene at all.
Right.
It's just disjointed. It feels like Doggett's went from 0 to 1,000 instantly, and it just felt too forced. And
really?
Just, like I said, comes out of nowhere. Yeah, I didn't feel it. I felt it was
right. To me,
too much.
The scene itself doesn't feel forced in the way it's played. I think it's perfectly in keeping with a man who has literally just had a vision. This is a man who is trying to suppress any notion, and we'll learn later in the episode just exactly why. But we've already been told he has had some kind of vision in the past regarding his son. Now he's just had another one, and then literally he's had we get told here in a very, like, as I say, off the cuff comment, a colleague's phoned him, told him Mulder's sniffing around the office looking at stuff about his son. I feel like we should have had a scene there. I feel like Mulder, Doggett at the hospital, we should have seen that phone call. He gets a phone call, breaks out of his vision. Yeah, Mulder's looking around the office. I'm pretty sure he's, opening files of your son's case kind of thing. Like, boom, I'd be fine with that, because he's literally just gone from the vision, the memory of seeing his son being found, and then boom, Mulder's going through his son's case file. So you're getting the supernatural element there. That's kind of, he's getting his back up against the wall because he ignored it once the first time around, and he's getting it again now with a guy that he knows is going to go snooping in a supernatural way. And so for me, the reaction is perfectly in keeping. I've got no problem with it at all. And I actually like the sequence, particularly Mulder's reaction to it, because Mulder literally does look like he's just crapped himself.
Yeah.
It says, whoa, okay. And it's the unspoken stuff between Mulder and Reyes as well, because Reyes is the one who's brought Mulder into this. So she feels a little bit of guilt on her part because of how Mulder has now been treated by Doggett. But she also recognizes that Doggett is well within his rights to be a bit pissed off because she's gone behind his back and is now getting Mulder to investigate his son's case. So there's all this kind of unspoken stuff. And then you've got Mulder looking at Reyes almost as if to say, I don't need this. I don't need you. You brought me in, and to be perfectly honest, I can see his point. This is his son. This is the most personal thing in his life. You've dragged me into it. Now I'm getting flack from him. And quite frankly, I don't need it. It's too much. I'm quite happy to walk. And you see that in Mulder's face. You see that in Duchovny's face. And it's in the performances. Like, just the unspoken stuff in that scene is just as powerful as the spoken stuff by Doggett losing it. So, yeah, for me, it was a great scene. So Reyes steps in and says she was the one who brought Mulder in on the case. Mulder brings up Bob Harvey, a suspect in the case, in Doggett's case and in this one, who died in the police car chase right in front of Jeb's office, just moments before Jeb killed the people. Doggett says there's no connection and tells them to stay out of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's actively pushing away from it now. The reluctance to face that fear.
Yeah. And like, for me, it was a big moment in the episode when we eventually get to it. Like, when you watch this again, because I've watched this twice now within the space of as many weeks, and I really enjoyed it the first time around. I watched it the second time just before we went on tonight, and because I knew what this all means for Doggett, this all just totally makes sense to me, given the speech he gives later on, because by bringing this stuff up and by saying, hey, look, this could be a possibility, you're literally telling him you didn't do enough to save your son. No father's going to want to hear that. And it's like, so for me, that's such a big, that is Doggett's arc in this episode. That's the thing he's carrying. That's his burden. And so him just wanting them to just keep it out, even on a subconscious level for him, I get it. I get why he is that way. So Reyes goes to speak with Cather Dukes, who is Jeb's sister, who says she doesn't believe he is capable of anything like what he's supposedly done. No links to Bob Harvey, which is what Reyes was expecting. Then the phone rings, and Cather goes to answer it. It's Jeb, who says, "I didn't kill those people." And Cather tells him to call back later. It's like she couldn't be any more obvious that it's her brother on the phone. It's like, I can't speak right now. I've had quite a day. Call back later.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only worst way she could do it is to go like, "I've got visitors," and literally say wink, wink.
Yeah. So
I do like that she tries to protect them though.
Yes.
You know, that kind of sibling love and like, that's not him. He would never do that. I know this person, and you know, protection. It's not something you see often.
No, and it's thematically in keeping with the whole Empedocles thing, which is, you know, the theory that Empedocles had about love and disorder, and it is that there is that thing there that, you know, that's what people are torn between all the time in this episode. Is it's between the acts of love and disorder. A woman knocks on the phone booth after getting a flat tire. So yeah, because obviously Jeb was just on the phone. He's had to hang up, and you know she's dead meat, basically. As soon as she knocks on and says, "Hey, I just got a flat tire, back a ways," you're like, "Yeah, you're dead."
Yeah, and it's funny how like you get to a certain point in like film or TV watching where you can jump ahead.
Yeah. So many kind of you get to a point where things write themselves, because it's like, I've seen so many TV shows, so many movies. There's only so many tropes that can be used, and they have all been used. So Scully wakes to a spaced out Doggett. She asks what's up. He asks what changed her mind about the paranormal. She says, "I was afraid to believe." She nods off a little, and he begins to flash back to finding his son's body again. Then he snaps out of it when she asks why he's asking. And he says some other time and leaves. So we can see here that this is something he's clearly wrestling with. And he's on a stage in his journey that Scully has been through. She's had obviously multiple things that brought her to faith, if you want to call it that, because that is one of the primary things I believe this episode is about. Ultimately, is faith, is and having to choose to believe, to take that step forward, so to speak. So yeah, that's what Doggett's dealing with, is this fear of belief, like which I think is a primary factor in faith for a lot of people, and you know, I'm not going to be specific. Obviously, we know what my beliefs are, but you know, I have a Christian faith, but it doesn't have to be about that. Any faith in anything that requires you to step out of your comfort zone and be like, "I'm not comfortable with that." It requires, So that's kind of what we're dealing with here, I think, is that fear of believing. There are signs that point to a particular belief, but I'm too scared to step out into that. And that's kind of what it's about. So Reyes finds Mulder in his office. He's sat there kind of like, it's kind of hard to break habits, really. It's not my office anymore, but I just can't help myself. So she's looking for Doggett, and he's looking through case files that feature visions like the one she had. He says there's no connection. She tells him he's wrong, just flat out. He says he needs to go and visit Scully, and then she hopes she's okay, so at least there will be one person down here with an open mind. Which is like a red rag to a bull. It's like Mulder disappears behind the door just as she says it, and then there's that moment where you're like, he's coming back, there's no way he's not coming back after she's just said that, because that is like literally the one thing you couldn't say to Mulder. That.
But I feel like there's a lot going on here. I feel like she knows what she's doing, manipulating him.
Oh yes,
and
yes.
he knows he's being manipulated, but still
Yes.
can't resist, and it feels like it comes across so quickly and so easily.
Yeah, it's just a really great interplay, and it's just like what I love about this episode is we've got these two pair. You got Mulder and Scully, and you've got Doggett and Reyes. Obviously, we don't know Doggett and Reyes as much as we do Mulder and Scully, but we do know they have a history. We do know they're emotionally connected, and now that we've got the four of them kind of around, all the paths are crisscrossing, and it's like Ghostbusters. Don't cross the streams. But it's just interesting to see what happens when you do, and to see how these people now interact with each other. It was kind of a similar dynamic when we had Frank Black from Millennium do the X-Files episode, and it's like, okay, Frank Black is a main character in his own right. He's got his own show. How's it going to work when we get him dropped in the middle of a Mulder and Scully episode?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and it's that kind of similar dynamic where, okay, I may root for two of these characters more than the other two traditionally, but it's interesting now. It's just a really interesting dynamic to see. Okay, how can they play each other? Who's on whose camp? So yeah, but I do like the way that Reyes essentially manipulates Mulder here by playing on his really egotistical weakness. So, this touches a nerve with Mulder, though he tries to hide it, but we can clearly see it. So Jeb comes out of a forest and stops by a car with its tyre removed. Tyre's been swapped, and he has the gun in his hand, so we know fully well he's just shot the woman. He sees flames in the reflection of the car window, and then he takes off in the car. So obviously we've not seen. We're left to kind of figure out what actually happened there, but it looks like he's gone back to the car with her, helped change the tyre, then killed her, ditched her in the forest, come back and drove off. So,
yeah.
Either that or he's going down the road with a flat tyre and he ain't going to be driving much longer. But as I say, the tyre was up on a jack, so the assumption there is that he helped her change the tyre before he did her in. So Doggett arrives at the crime scene, wondering why he's there. Reyes wants to know if he sees the vision like she does. He says no. She says she doesn't believe him. Mulder's like, blimey, she didn't hold back this one, did she? He's like, chill out. Just chill out. It's like, which is bizarre that Mulder is telling someone who's a believer to chill out. Like, so suddenly Mulder becomes all sense and reason.
What I like about this is you don't see Doggett's point of view. You don't see what he sees.
Yeah.
You see Reyes, what she sees when she looks at the body, but you never see Doggett, so you're never sure if he's seeing something or not, which I think adds a little bit of mystery to it.
Yeah, it's good. I like that. It's because again, it does force you to hinge more on the faith aspect kind of thing. It's like, because all we need to know is his reaction, but it's played in such a way that he may have just seen it, but he's just absolutely stubborn refusal to acknowledge it. And then again, he might not have. Because he's kicked that side of things down so low that now he can't even see it. Like once maybe he was capable, maybe now he's not, because he's just rooted it out so much. Which again is another aspect of faith. If you push it away so much, eventually you just won't be able to see it. So yeah, he just doesn't want to see it. That's what she says. Then she talks about a chain of evil that half the world would have no trouble seeing the evidence for, because in the Middle East and the Far East, they still have these notions, these spiritual notions about evil and how it passes from one person to the next. Mulder says he saw Elvis in a potato chip once, which I just thought was hilarious. And then he defends Doggett's right to not believe and then leaves, which I just thought was a really powerful moment for me.
Okay.
I don't know how you read that from the look on your face. I'm guessing it didn't land the same, but for me, I just feel like Mulder's grown somewhat because of the experience of his abduction.
Okay.
I feel like he's found his holy grail, so to speak. He's not only found it, he's become part of it. He got abducted, and he's become part of the very thing he's searched for. And I don't know, I feel like that's grounded him in a way where, like, okay, that was my holy grail, but other people's holy grails aren't the same thing, and people have a different I don't know, I feel like there's a more mature response from Mulder here than what we may have got.
Yeah, I'm never sure if I think Mulder does not trust Doggett and doesn't like him. And anything that he can do to kind of push him away from his area of working, which is the X-Files, where you have to have a little bit of belief or a little bit of willingness to go that far. If he can push him in the opposite direction, it makes him counterintuitive to that whole process.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think that Mulder, before this episode, Mulder had no connection with Doggett, and we see it when he goes to see Scully about Doggett. We see it on him. We see that there's a sense of guilt in Mulder, I think, that he's judged Doggett really harshly, and yet Doggett has a similar story to his own. He can relate to Doggett now in a way that he absolutely couldn't before he had this piece of information, because obviously he had his sister that went missing, and that defined so much of his life. And now he learns that Doggett had a son that was killed, and that's defined so much of his life. Yeah. And I feel like there's just a lot going on here with Mulder, where it's like he wants to hate Doggett. He wants to say, I don't really want anything to do with this guy. But because of the information he's now been given in this episode, he's compelled to not fly the Doggett flag or anything, but just tread carefully and say, look, this is all sensitive stuff, and I get it. It's like, look, I don't want to sit down and have a beer with the guy, but I get it. And you're pushing him on something that is the most open wound in this guy's life. Something that I actually understand and have some personal experience with. So, like, to me, when I looked at this, I read not necessarily sympathy, but empathy from Mulder. So it's not like he doesn't want to be his friend, but he recognizes what's going on here. If this was another case, he'd be quite happy to go, screw you, you need to be more open-minded, don't be a douchebag. But because it's this case, I feel there's a certain maturity coming out of Mulder that is based in empathy. That's how I read it anyway. Maybe if you go back, rewatch it, maybe, I don't know, you might see that, maybe you won't. But and maybe that's the beauty of the scene, is that it can be read in multiple ways. I do think what all four of these actors are doing throughout this episode, I find to be quite interesting in the way that it can be read. So, yeah, Mulder goes to see Scully. I just felt like Mulder defending Doggett's right to believe or not to believe again was pivotal to the theme of this episode, which is faith, and the fact that you can't force someone to believe what you believe. You can't force someone into a position of faith. You can point them, you can show them the evidence that you believe there is for it, but you can't force them into it. It has to be a personal decision. Faith is a personal choice, ultimately, which is, yeah. So, and tying that to Mulder is interesting because Scully was the person of faith, of a religious faith. Mulder was on a different kind of faith journey. And it feels, I don't know, it just feels like the things he's saying now feels a bit more respectful to what he once would have been like in terms of his position and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, I feel that's also backed up at the end of season 9 by a particular scene, but that's way off, so we'll get there when we get there. I see him growing. That's the thing. I see the growth across these 2 seasons. But so Mulder goes to see Scully and he feels her belly. They have a bit of a moment. He tells her what he's been doing, and she points out that Doggett and Reyes are nothing alike. Sorry, he does. He points out that Doggett and Reyes are nothing alike. She tells him Doggett is worth the effort, which I don't mind saying, I got a bit of a lump in my throat when she did it, because it was this thing where it's like Mulder he's torn between, again, like, there is the empathy there for Doggett right now, but ultimately the X-Files are mine.
Yeah.
And I can't allow this empathy to let me let him in. But Scully, yeah, she just drops this line where it's like, he's worth it. He's worth the effort. And it gave me the feels, just because coming from Scully to Mulder, you know how that hits Mulder. Like, Mulder trusts her implicitly, really. So for her to say that to him and have no hint of anything else beyond it, I feel like that Mulder will hear that, I think. So yeah, you can't argue with a pregnant woman in a hospital bed. Anyway, it's basically what I wrote with that. So
or anybody else, to be honest.
yeah, anywhere really. So Cather comes home to find Jeb waiting for her. He says he didn't do it and that he needs help, all the while with speckles of blood on his face.
Yeah. And a crazed look in his eye.
Yeah. Very hard to trust a man who's got speckles of blood all over his face. So Reyes finds Doggett working the case, but tells him he's working it from the wrong angle. She asks him what he's afraid of by admitting what he saw. And he tells her that if the paranormal angles are real, then it means he didn't do everything humanly possible to find his son. And Monica gets a call from Cather to say that Jeb is at her house. Like, this scene hit me hard. Just because it is that realization there that actually at the time, maybe Monica was the one, maybe Monica was the Mulder at the time saying, we should look into this. We both saw that. That was a vision. And he shut it down. He chose, no, I need to focus on real world stuff here. This is nonsense. I need to actually catch the guy. And finding his dead son, from this point out, it's like, now I absolutely cannot look at the paranormal as a, because if I do, I'm accepting the fact that there is more I could have done. And just like the way he explains that, the way he reiterates it 3 times, like, I don't know, I just found it powerful. It hit me. It emotionally hit me as a dad, as a father, and as someone who is a believer. You know, I reckon, and for me, I twisted it as well. That so as a believer in God, as a person of faith, I twisted it around where what if I didn't take a particular action because I'm thinking, no, I've got faith that God is going to come through on this, and then actually he doesn't, and something happens to my child. How would that then affect my faith? Like, you know, what level of anger would I have? You know, and that happens. You know, people lose their faith over things like that because they're so adamant that God is going to save their child from cancer, or, you know, this, that, and the other, and he doesn't. So this scene hit me hard because I'm not just looking at it from Doggett's standpoint. I'm seeing this whole episode as being about faith, and I'm like, well, what happens when you twist that dynamic? It's the person who does believe, who believes way too much, not too much, but believes so much that it blinds them from seeing something that is a hard and fast physical world reality. I just think it's a great scene because it got me to think, and it really challenged me and also hit me emotionally. But yeah. So Cather asks her daughter to come with her because Jeb is reading her a bedtime story. Jeb senses that someone else is there. She's not very subtle, this woman, is she? Like, if that were me, I'd go in and I'd be like, Jeb, just give me a moment. She's got to brush her teeth. She's going to do bedtime. And then if she's like, but I already brushed my teeth. It's like, yeah, and I've seen on the side that the toothpaste is still on the flipping, but just come with me. Come on. Brush it. Like, just, you know, play it up like that. But she goes in, it's like, come here. Come with me a minute. I just need to talk to you. And it's just like, woman, you just have a neon sign above your head. It's like, yeah. So he senses it, as any person with half a brain would. And he pulls his gun, grabs his niece, gets to the stairs, and Doggett is at the bottom of the stairs, has his gun on him. They're shouting at each other. Doggett starts to lower his gun to speak to him, but the guy's clearly just not. He's not calming down. He's still like shouting and stuff, and he lifts the gun up a bit, like, and basically Reyes makes the right choice. She puts a bullet in him because it's like you can't chance anything with that, can you? If that's your partner and he's twitching with a gun and he's getting louder and louder, you do what you have to do, especially when there's a child there as well. So hard call, but probably the right one. Yeah. So at the hospital, Reyes says that maybe the visions were all about saving the niece and tells John to go home because he's all fired up now, and he's like, he wants to speak to Jeb, but Jeb's obviously unconscious, and she's like, there's nothing now, it's done. And he's like, you can't tell me that. After all, you pushed me down this angle. And she's like, well, maybe it was about the niece. Maybe that was the thing. Maybe that's why we got the visions. So yeah, so he goes off. And again, that is a very strong aspect of faith that I encounter quite a lot, which is that so often with our faith notion, you know, that when we feel God is speaking to us or whatever, we make it about us, and it isn't always about us. It's about something else going on in our lives, or someone else going on in our lives. And yeah, so Doggett stands by Scully having a flashback to finding his son and seeing the body charred. Mulder snaps him out of it, and they step outside. Mulder tells Doggett, and see, this is another scene that I really like, I do feel that Mulder is... There's two kinds of Mulder, and I do think he's playing it softly here. There is a definite level of empathy from Mulder here. He says certain things where he's like, he acknowledges the fact that he doesn't think Doggett, he doesn't see these things. And he almost says like, well, and that's okay. But so Mulder tells Doggett about his time working in the violent crimes and how scientific explanations for men's evil acts became unsatisfactory. He started to see evil as a disease that has the potential to pass from man to man at a time when a person is most susceptible. Doggett says if that were true, then the same evil that killed his son might have been passed to Jeb. Mulder suggests that it could just be random. Doggett asks, well, what if it isn't? And then Mulder says, well, then you'd be seeing something that I don't see, Agent Doggett. And it's like, it's an acknowledgement there that, again, going back to what I said earlier, that we all have faith in different things, and we all see different things. And it isn't necessarily that, oh, well, if you don't see it and I do it and I do, then you're missing something or lacking something, or I'm right and you're wrong. It's that, well, maybe we weren't meant to see it. Maybe we weren't made for that. Maybe we were meant to see this thing that person who sees all the other stuff didn't get to see. And we've seen this before with the episode Beyond the Sea, where it was Scully who was seeing stuff. It was Scully that had, was making the connections based on what Luther Lee Boggs was seeing. And Mulder was saying, no, do not trust this guy. And it's just like, yeah, so we get a little bit of that here. So Mulder does believe this stuff, or he's looked to this kind of theory of evil passing from human to human, but just in this particular case, he's not there. And yet, Doggett is asking the right questions, or certainly the questions that suggest he's on that train. He's about to step out in faith, not necessarily belief, but faith. I think faith and belief are two different things, but when you step out in one, the other is built up, and that's essentially what's going on with Doggett here. He's questioning. That's how it starts. It starts with questions, and then it moves on to stepping out based on those questions, or the possible answers to those questions. So Jeb dies, Cather becomes infected and attacks Reyes. Doggett arrives in time to stop her and tells Reyes it's over, but she says it's never over. So yeah. So it's just, yeah. But it's like, did he go in that room? Because, like, would he have gone into that room if he wasn't asking those questions? That's the thing. And by seeing what he's just seen, how does that affect? We get another little scene in a bit here, which again shows that. Well, I'll get to it in a bit. Just so there's two last scenes. One is Scully opens Mulder's gift, which is a doll, an old family heirloom, and she loves it. And it's a really beautiful scene because I just love the relational stuff between Mulder and Scully. It's great. She says he gave her the greatest gift, which was the courage to believe. So again, it's that.
A baby.
Yeah, and a baby. You gave me the greatest gift. The courage to believe. No way, it was a baby. So, yeah, but again, it's just, it looks at the growth of both of these people throughout the entire show, really. Which is why I see those elements in Mulder, the growth in Mulder that I've talked about. Because Scully acknowledges the growth in her as well as a result of being partnered with him. And I do think they've rubbed off on each other. They're now kind of in a middle ground where they have a little bit of each other's belief systems embedded within their personalities. So that was a beautiful scene, I thought. And then the last one is Doggett looking through the window at Cather strapped to a hospital bed, clearly out of her mind at this point. But like normally I don't like that kind of scene. We've had it before, and it plays as a "ooh, is it really over" kind of thing. That's how it usually plays at any rate. But here it's literally Doggett wrestling with, well, what he witnessed. He asked the question, which showed that he was teetering on the edge of belief or faith. He went to that room, possibly as a result of that, and found what he found, which was the evil passing to Jeb's sister. So him to be stood there looking through that window is him wrestling with that stuff. Can he bring himself to go further in that faith journey, so to speak? So there we go. That's the end. Wrap up. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Yes. No, you go first. You're obviously way more passionate and seeing a lot more in this.
I honestly do not understand that score. And I don't know if this is literally just because this episode speaks to me on a very personal level. Obviously it is. That's obviously what it is. And if it doesn't speak to you in that way, then it doesn't speak to you in that way. Again, as with the faith thing, you can't force it onto someone. But for me, this was definitely a 5 out of 5. It's my favourite episode of the season so far. I think all of the characters are pivotal. Like the few scenes that Scully gets, she says things that like really hit home for Mulder and force him to look at Doggett in a way that he doesn't want to. He's already kind of being forced to because of the nature of the case, but he doesn't want to really. But then Scully saying that is like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. So she's so pivotal in this, even though she's not in it that much. Their relationship stuff on the bookended scenes with them in her apartment. The personal aspect of this for Doggett really hits hard for me. Again, as a father myself, as a person of faith, like I said, twisting that scene that the way he explains it, but twisting it around from my belief system and saying that it still works and it hits hard as a result. And Reyes being kind of the instrumental kicking off point for all of this and the agitator, really. She's the agitator for it, that's kind of forcing people to confront their positions and their places. And I just thought it was a great episode. I thought it had phenomenal special effects. I don't get the hate for it. Really don't. 5 out of 5.
There you go. I like it. It's a decent enough episode. It's one that really focuses on Doggett's grief and it kind of pushes him back into the forefront. The supernatural case, although really interesting at the start, is not really the catalyst. I suppose it's the catalyst, not really the driving point of the episode. It's more about Luke's murder and how it affects Doggett, and particularly how he looks at everything in his life, the way he always looks at facts, procedure, certainty. He wants that with everything he's investigating. Reyes, I like. She feels if she comes fully formed in an identity. I like the fact that she's a little bit intuitive and a little bit spiritual, empathetic and willing to follow the feelings that others dismiss, but she's not fully in that camp. She's just willing to listen to what she's saying to herself. Yeah. I think this is quite a good episode for taking Mulder out of that central role. Yeah. He's no longer the kind of emotional lead. He's part of a team. And I think that was a good thing to do. And I hope it continues. The fact that, yes, he's there, but it's just not all about him now, because we've had his story. We've had somewhat of a closure there, and we're going to focus on all the other people who seem really interesting round about them as well. Yeah. And just as a touching point, I do love the idea of evil as a contagion. Like, I think that's just something that's really a great idea. It's creepy, where everybody can be a vessel if you're not careful.
Yeah.
I like the episode. I don't see as much into it as you do. I think it's definitely not the fourth worst in this season. I'd say it's probably a good 4 out of 5 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's respectable. I think I just find that insane. Fourth from bottom in a season, and across the whole series, 217 episodes, it's at 181. I'm like,
yeah.
I mean that's literally bottom of the pile. That I can't compute that. I really can't. In an episode that genuinely affected me emotionally, and hit a lot of different personal aspects for me. I can't fathom that. Cannot fathom it.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's not. I mean, how many times have we come across an episode that's terrible that's not?
Yeah.
So it's nothing out of the ordinary. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the next episode, Brian?
It's Vienna, is it? I think that's I think it's Vienna. Vienna. It's Mulder and Doggett forced to kind of they're basically stuck on an oil rig with each other while some shenanigans are going on, and it's like, can these guys actually work together, or are they just going to end up like beating seven bells out of each other? But it's just it's I remember it being a really fun episode just because it's like proper Mulder and Doggett having to work together on a case, even though they don't really want to. And it's like, these guys have got to work their crap out soon. Otherwise, it's just, And it is that thing where like you want to bang their heads together and go, dude, just put your egos aside. So, well, I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to really like it.
I mean, you sparked my interest with the location. Like that just offers up so many possibilities. Like a lot. So there we have it. That was Empedocles. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. If you think it was way better than the fourth worst episode of this season, let us know in the comment box below and let us know what you think of this one. As always, we appreciate you liking, watching and supporting and sharing our podcast, whether it's on YouTube or whatever podcast service you listen to us. It really helps other people discover our passion for the X-Files. And we'll see you next week where we talk about Vienna.
Yeah.
There we go. Bye.